I think of three things that I would attribute some of this to in my family. At a young age, they instilled what I'd call faith practices, pray at bedtime, go to church on Sunday, reading to us from Bible stories and that kind of thing. So kind of what you'd expect, kind of normal faith at home practices for young children. But I think maybe the most important part of a childhood is when you can start to talk about things in those, call it age 10 to 18, where, you can bring up really more complicated things at the dinner table and talk through how you make decisions, how your values come to life and what you do, what's honest, what's got integrity, what would Jesus do. And there was just a constant conversation in our household about moral things from our faith. And I've had many times after talking about that publicly, I've had young men come up to me and say, I never thought about how important dinner is and talking about stories from work. And I would tell you that shaped who I am as a leader. I can reference dozens of stories that taught me principles of my faith, particularly from my father. My mother was a little quieter, but vibrant conversations. So really engaging your children in, what's good, what's bad, how did I know, what did I decide, what did I lose sleep over? And one night my dad was just beside himself, pacing the floor, looked kind of sweaty and pale. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And he said, I have to lay off an entire plant tomorrow, and it's making me completely sick to my stomach. And I learned that night that if you're going to lay off an entire plant, you should be sick to your stomach. He was talking about the family's impact, right? And why he had to do it and how hard it was to think through the impact on people. And so don't underestimate, and literally my dad and mom took us to work with them all the time. We colored in the conference room, and we followed my mom around where she set up her teaching class. And children need to see what work looks like and how you do these things. And so those are a couple of things that really stand out to me. The third one, though, let important people of faith breathe into your children, not just you. Our grandparents might have been the most important faith modelers and conversations in our lives. And my parents let us talk to them and spend summers with them and travel with them. I think sometimes we think as parents we're in charge of everything. If you have an aunt and uncle or a grandparent or a good family friend that you think is an incredible positive influence on your children, let them have relationships like that. Because sometimes you don't want to ask your parents certain questions. This might be a safe place to go when you're really struggling with something important. And so my parents were brave enough to let us be with other people who influenced us greatly.